There we are. Alright, so before we start, I want to stay a little bit organized at the top right here. So what we're going to do is create a new collection, and I'm just going to title this images. So anything that's not a model, we're going to put it in there. So grab that picture, slap it on in there. Alright, nope. Alright, and then the other thing I'm going to do before we get placing everything, I'm going to come down here to the object data, this guy right here, and turn transparency on, and I'm going to put that at 0.5 so I can see through it. And then I'm also going to turn perspective view off on that. It's a personal preference, you don't have to, but that's what I like to do. So we're looking at the side of the car here. I'm going to scale this image up a little bit. Alright, so I'll do that, and so I know where everything is in relation to this cube. I'm going to put the top of the cube right here at the top of the intake, bottom of the cube right at the bottom of the car, and then I'm going to just drag this to the front there, and drag this to the front of the intake there. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste this image. I'm going to press R and press Z and type 90 on the numpad. Whip that guy around, press 1 to go into our forward view now. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to settle just about there. It's not going to line up perfectly. There's always a little bit of variation, but you want to get it as close as you can. So I'm going to press 3 again. I'm going to copy this image again, paste it. I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis this time by 90 degrees. If we press 7, we're going to look at it from the top. That's actually pretty much already lined up. We just need to center it, just like that. Beautiful. Now we've got our images, and we can get to work on the model. So how I'm going to go about this is I'm going to make a simplistic model, and I'm going to use subdivision while I work on it so I can get the shape I'm looking for. So techniques should be the same, low poly or a more detailed model if you're using the subsurf like I am. Drag that back there. Alright, so we're going to start off with our cube. And I'm going to start in the front of the car. Or, actually, I take that back. I'm going to start the cockpit, since this is typically the most complex portion of the car, because you got your intakes coming out, and you got the cockpit going into the nose, and you got a lot of interesting shapes. So we'll start there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a control loop, do Control R, and get it centered down the middle from the front to the back. Just tap enter twice so it's centered, and I'm going to delete this left half from looking from the front. And then we're going to click on a wrench on the right side. We're going to add a mirror modifier, and we're going to add our subsurface division. I've set that at 2, render at 3. Alright, so I'm going to start. Again, this right back here. Alright, so we're going to start with making our intakes to the upper intake here. So basically this back portion. We're going to start with that. So I'm going to add a control loop right here where the cockpit ends. I'm going to drag this back a little bit. I'm going to press 7. I'm going to turn subdivision off to make this a little bit easier. We'll add a control loop right here at our intake. And I'm going to drag this in right here. Drag this up to the edge of the car. Then I'm gonna take these three vertices, I'm gonna press E and press X. Oh, I take that back, I'm just gonna press E, I guess. And drag each one of these into position where this intake is. And then to straighten out this back edge, I will press S, Y, and 0. I can do the same with this. Just make that nice and straight. Okay. So then what we can see here is we have this line right here, which is where that upper portion starts coming up on the car. That kind of goes into the lines of the cockpit a little bit, so I'm going to try to make this follow that as best as I can. And then what I'm going to do is right here, make sure I have this correct, I do. I'm going to extrude this up to the top of the intake, and because we have the mirror modifier and we just extruded on the center line, it's going to create a face right here. We do not want that, so be sure to delete that. Oh, wrong thing. There we go. This probably looks pretty funky, but I assure you it's going to look a little bit more normal in a minute. So I'm going to put a line right here because we don't really know what comes after this, so we're going to have to deal with that later, but we're going to work with what we can see. So I can see it's right there, and this comes in right here, add a edge control loop right there, put it there, and we'll just add one more, just like that. Okay. And it looks fairly decent. So this is where we need to picture the car. Let me see if I could pick one up. Okay. So here we go. This is that line where, let's see if I can shrink this a little bit. Here. See if I could show you guys. Alright, so this line right here that we got here is right here. You can see the shadow a little bit. It's a little bit easier when it's bigger to see. Right here is that edge right below the intake right here, and it needs to kind of come up. It comes in and then comes up, so we're going to need to recreate that here. And then in the front it becomes a nice arch there. So that's what we're going to be doing. And that image, you just need to make sure you're looking at the right type of car, because quite a few different McLarens with the same paint scheme and everything are going to come up, so you just need to be sure of that. So alright, let's begin. Here's your little swoopy thingy. I'm not sure how to describe that exactly, but we're going to follow that. Alright. I'll just add one control loop, put it right there. And then I'll add one more right there. It's okay that it's blocking now because subdivision will do its magic and help us out there. I'm going to extrude this out one more. We have to delete that center face again. There it is. Cool. So what we're going to do is press 7. There's our line right there. So I'm actually going to change this to kind of follow that contour line there. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing G, and if you double tap it, it'll follow the line, or the edge, I should say, which is extremely, extremely, extremely useful. Okay, so now that we have that, it needs to come in and then it needs to come up. So what we're gonna do, let's see, how are we gonna do this? We're gonna have to add another edge, so we'll just put it right there. And then I'm gonna grab Actually, grab all of these. Then we're just gonna drag them up like that. I'm gonna press S and Z, flatten them out. Just like that. And back here, drag this up just a little bit. Get a little bit of separation there. Okay, and if we add subdivision, that looks like a giant blob. We'll fix this later. Okay. Add a control loop right here. And it actually gets less pronounced, this little ledge here, as we move forward. So I'm going to drag that sort of like that, drag that up a little bit. I'm going to drag this up to the top of the car right there. Same with this, that needs to go there. And then add a couple control loops here. Okay, now we got our nice little cockpit shape. It needs to be rounded out. So I'm going to add one control loop there. Drag that down a little bit. Grab these two vertices, drag that down a little bit. Get it nice and curved. Get that kind of rounded out, and then if we take this and extrude it forward, just right there. Okay. Now I'm gonna drag this out just a little bit more. I'll add a control loop right there, because you can see the little elbow right there. Okay. Now we're going to start working on the back end of our upper intake here. We can just drag this down, drag that down. Oh yeah, in case you haven't seen any of my other videos, to get this nice little circle here, I'm pressing C, and then if I click and drag, it'll highlight everything that it goes over. So very useful tool for doing this stuff in a timely manner. Let's add subdivision. I'm only going to put that to 1. I'm going to take this and I'm going to extrude it all the way to the front so I don't have to keep deleting these faces. Let's see, do I have another one? I do have another one there. Get rid of that. Scale that down, drag it down. I'm not going to leave it like this. This is just to give me a little bit of an idea of how this is going to end up looking. Okay. So a couple sharp angles. I'm going to show you how to sharpen this out. So this entire line here, not that one, not that one either. Alright, not that one. This can be a struggle sometimes. Alright, so that line right there needs to be fairly defined, so I'm going to do Shift E, and if you drag out, it'll make it sharper or less sharp. So I'm going to put it right about there. This line needs to be sharpened as well, so I'm just going to drag that up a little bit like that. Alright, for the intake, all 4 corners of this guy should be sharp. And then sharpen sharpen all this. Can sharpen that out. Maybe not that sharp. Let's see, we still want a little roundedness about it. And then we can add control loops to give us a little more control over this as well.